morning, everyone. Welcome to Stinchfield. I am saddened to tell you that President Trump received another letter that he is a target of another federal investigation. Prosecutor Jack Smith sent him this letter telling Donald Trump that he needs to show up before a grand jury within the next 4 days. President Trump says a looming indictment and a looming could be coming, an arrest could be coming anytime soon. That is the sad reality. I will tell you, as a conservative talk show host, when I heard this news, it is rare that I am left speechless. But that's exactly how I was left when I heard that they are handing down another indictment of President Trump, or one that could soon come. I'm sickened each time this happens, because with each investigation, with each grand jury hearing, with each charge leveled against President Trump, it is literally the Democrats issuing blow after blow after blow in an effort not just to destroy President Trump, but to destroy everything this country stands for, to destroy freedom. It is an assault on all of us. This proves to me that the Democrats are nothing more than evil, anti-freedom tyrants. What they are doing to President Trump is despicable. They are trying to break apart America. Marjorie Taylor Greene summed it up pretty well when she was asked about this indictment.
Do you have a reaction to that?
Yeah, it's absolute bullshit. Yeah, that's my reaction. This is the only way that the Democrats have to beat President Trump, is to arrest him, smear him, charge him with ridiculous charges, all in a cover-up of Joe Biden's crimes, Hunter Biden's crimes. It's unbelievable. It's hard to even recognize that this is our country. The American people are going to be furious. And what Jack Smith is doing is the weaponized government.
Oh, we're furious, all right. There's no doubt about that. This will propel President Trump again in the polls. There's no doubt about that either. This is, of course, the weaponization of government, but we don't need to hear this over and over again. This is not what I need to hear from lawmakers. It is all true, as Kevin McCarthy spells out.
If you notice recently, President Trump went up in the polls and was actually surpassing President Biden for re-election. So what do they do now? Weaponize government to go after their number one opponent. It's time and time again. I think the American public is tired of this. They want to see equal justice, and the idea that they utilize this to go after those who politically disagree with them is wrong.
Quite frankly, my 14-year-old son who loves this country can come out here and tell you that it's the weaponization of government, that it's a rogue FBI, that it's a justice system that is turned against conservatives. We got it. We've been talking about this for months now. So now I want to know, what are we going to do about it? What are lawmakers in Washington going to do about it? It's time now we go on the offensive. I'm tired of talking about the weaponization. I want an actual plan of action. So here's what I want. I don't know if I'm supposed to say this on TV or not. If you got kids in the room, cover their ears up. I want Joe Biden's cojones in a vice. Squeeze him till he hurts. Squeeze the Biden family till they hurt. Where are the subpoenas from all these committees? I want Hunter Biden subpoenaed. Let him come before the United States Congress. I want Jim Biden, Joe Biden's brother, subpoenaed before the United States Congress. And you know what? While we're at it, why don't we subpoena Jill Biden, Joe Biden's wife? There's constitutional issues. I don't know if she can testify, but let's play it out in court. Let's make them wonder. Let's squeeze them for a change instead of them constantly squeezing us. There are multiple committees that need to issue multiple subpoenas. Let's see Hunter Biden. I don't care if it's every day testifying for the next 2 weeks. Let's show the American people who is really corrupt here. And lastly, let's impeach Joe Biden. Vote on this, get it through. I know it's in committee now. Move it through committee. We don't need to be talking about this. We all know what's up against Joe Biden. All the text messages, all the wire transfers, all of the witnesses that have come forward, the FBI witnesses, the IRS witnesses. You're telling me these committees need to investigate this for any longer? Vote it out of committee, put it to a vote on the floor, send it to the Senate, and let's hold a trial with the impeachment of Joe Biden. Now, I understand you're not going to get it through the United States Senate, but I don't care. I want the American people on record knowing exactly what the Biden family has done. And then, finally, we rally around President Trump. We surround him with support. We propel him to the top of the ticket and ultimately into the White House. This is Don Jr., who was on with my buddy Steve Bannon just a couple hours ago right here on Real America's Voice.
We are in serious trouble, Steve, if we don't right this ship. And the reason they don't want Donald Trump in office is because he's the only guy that can do it. He's the only guy that will do it. And now I imagine he has a little bit of a grudge to settle, so all the more so. The other candidates, they're not going to do it, just like they wouldn't have stuck with a Brett Kavanaugh and some of the Supreme Court justices who gave us the incredible decisions of the last 10 days. And again, that is why the swamp is so afraid of Donald Trump. It's not just the Democrats.
President Trump used the term retribution. Folks, I don't mean to get angry on this program. I know that anger is the most ugly emotion you can possibly have, but I'm steaming mad. I'm watching my country be destroyed before my very eyes, and you got guys like Don Jr., you got guys like President Trump, with the resolve that he has to stand firm in the face of this assault, and there are certain members of Congress that are certainly standing up as well. So what are all these charges about? It's all speculation. January 6th, it could be. I actually think maybe this is the federal government trying to wrestle charges away from the Fulton County District Attorney in Atlanta who's investigating President Trump. Maybe that's what it's about. It doesn't matter because all of it's bogus. Every single one of them. And the mainstream media, you want to see the state of the mainstream media today? This is how far they have gone off the deep end. They've lost it. They have gone from, I don't know, calling themselves news media to TMZ.
Jack Smith can't resist a $5 footlong. That's according to what we see right there. New and exclusive CNN video of the special counsel at Subway, declining, though, to respond to reporters' questions about today's big news. A target letter sent to the former president of the United States. CNN's Evan Perez was there.
$5 footlong? Who in the hell cares what Jack Smith is doing? The only thing I care that Jack Smith does is when he weaponizes the government against conservatives and President Trump. That needs to be exposed, not him buying a Subway. Well, CNN doubles down on this, if you can believe it.
Jack Smith going to Subway today is a message to Donald Trump. Mm-hmm. Donald Trump tries to intimidate people. He tries to bully people. He tries to scare you away. That was Jack Smith with no words and a simple $5 sub in his hand saying, I'm here, I'm not going anywhere.
Yeah, the imagery was intentional and spoke volumes.
Are you nuts? Are you crazy? The image of him walking out of a Subway with a sandwich in his hand only tells me that the man was hungry. That's it. Do you think President Trump cares that he's eating a Subway sandwich? Do you see now why I am livid? The mainstream media is supposed to do its job and uncover corruption inside government, uncover government entities that are working against the people instead of for the people. But now you have a mainstream media working for the government and those weaponized entities instead of working for all of us. Thank God, quite frankly, Real America's Voice is here and other outlets doing the job to get you the truth. So what happens here? I promise you President Trump goes straight to the top of the polls. He's already there. He's going to go even further. You know what was the telling sign today? The Dow Jones Industrial Average was up like 345 points today. Why? Because stocks love no regulation, limited government, and low taxes. And that's what they get with President Trump in office. And the stock market saw this saying, you know what? This just pushes President Trump closer to the White House. The Vegas odds for President Trump winning, by the way, also went up today because the Democrats are going an end run around the American people. And all of this is going to backfire on them. That's a guarantee. Well, joining me now, I mentioned there are a few members of Congress who are fighting for what's right in Washington. Of course, our friend from Colorado's 3rd District, the Republican, Lauren Boebert, is back with us. Lauren, great to see you.
Hi, Grant.
Lauren, what do you make it today?
This is just another day and another witch hunt. The fact is, Joe Biden's regime isn't really going after Donald Trump. They're going after we the people, and this is what we cannot allow to continue. We all know that the DOJ and the FBI are woke and weaponized, and this will make the third indictment of President Trump in less than a year. But despicably, we have seen this politicization of these three-letter agencies in order to try and take down President Trump and cover up for the Biden crime family. Maybe the cocaine investigation of the substance found at the White House ended so abruptly because they knew that they were going after President Trump and they would have another distraction. But there will be another Biden crime crisis for them to cover up shortly. And I agree with you so greatly, Grant. We don't need tens of subpoenas. We need hundreds, and we need the important players. Tomorrow, we are going to hear from 2 criminal investigators from the IRS that are coming in and know extensively what has been going on in the financial dealings with the Biden family. And I expect to hear many details of them. There's hours of testimony that they have already provided that I have been going through, and it is incredible the amount of information that these 2 whistleblowers have, and now the American people will be able to be informed of tomorrow.
All right, so we'll be watching that very, very closely. The question then becomes, the number one guy I want subpoenaed is, of course, Hunter Biden. Why have we not done that? Why has that not happened? Why aren't we marching him before any of the committees, all of the committees in Washington?
Grant, you've got my vote. I want Hunter Biden before the Oversight Committee. I want him before the Judiciary Committee. I want him before the Weaponization of the Federal Government Committee, and answering what he's been using his father's titles and government positions for to sell out America. This should be the number one thing that we are focusing on. We have even seen folks like Gal Loft, who were indicted because of a video leaking information. And in that video, this was before the Hunter Biden laptop was even made public, and there were things that were being referred to. Now, I don't know if Gal is a great guy or not, but the information that he had is incriminating to Hunter Biden. We hear that these whistleblowers, or at least one of them, were going to interview Hunter Biden, and then the FBI got word of it and shut down that interview. This is that weaponized federal government that we have to take care of. One way that I'm going to be taking care of it is by using the Holman Rule, and that is defunding bureaucrats individually, hitting them where it hurts. Those who are abusing their position, they shouldn't be paid taxpayer money. And my friend and colleague from Florida, Congressman Matt Gaetz, is introducing legislation to defund Jack Smith's investigation into President Trump, which I vehemently support.
I am 100% with you on that one as well. And so these are the kind of things that I was talking about earlier, that we need more members of Congress taking a proactive position. And let's not forget, Lauren Boebert, you filed impeachment articles against President Trump. Excuse me, not against President Trump, of course, against Joe Biden. That is now going to committee, I understand, right? These impeachment proceedings. Why aren't we just passing this straight through the House of Representatives?
Grant, it may come to that. I am giving committees the opportunity to go through the process. There were a lot of colleagues demanding that we want regular order. That's something that we fought for in the beginning of the Congress. But the way that I introduced this is still regular order. It's part of the House rules. And so I'm giving them this opportunity to bring it through committee. But Grant, if it does not come up in committee, then we're doing this all over again, and there will be a straight up and down vote to impeach Joe Biden.
All right, that's got to happen, because I want, as much as I want Democrats on notice on so many legislative issues, there are Republicans in Congress I want put on notice with their votes when it comes to this stuff, so the American people can see where they stand as well. Sometimes our own party, those inside it, frustrate me just as much as the Democrats, Congresswoman.
Grant, I'm a professional rhino hunter. I feel your pain.
Well, that's why we have you on the program, Lauren Boebert, and we appreciate all you're doing up in Washington. Just keep us posted, okay? And you're welcome back anytime, of course.
Thanks so much. Hopefully, I have a lot of information on subpoenas and exciting witnesses that we'll be bringing before committees, or maybe just this straight up and down impeachment vote for Joe Biden.
Bring us good news. That's all we ask. Lauren Boebert from Colorado, thank you so much.
Grant.
All right. We're going to continue our coverage of this because this is really a huge day when you think of another looming indictment of President Trump. How are we going to do this? Well, another federal agent says the FBI is using its power inappropriately. And that mishandling evidence is what it's doing. Those details are next. Stick with me. You know, folks, here's what I want to focus in on this program. Much of the mainstream media will be turning the focus back onto President Trump. They'll be replaying all kinds of bogus nonsense from left-wing lawmakers and rogue prosecutors. All the while, Joe Biden, Hunter Biden, and the Biden crime family will be living it up in the White House, chuckling around all the cocaine and the marijuana floating around over there. I refuse to give up on exposing the Biden crime family for what it really is, a family that has profited off its name, off the American people, off of this country, sacrificing national security in the process. Now, how do I know when there's problems? Shakespeare said, what? He who doth protest too much? Here's Joe Biden.
Vice President Biden, there have been questions about the work your son has done in China and for a Ukrainian energy company when you were vice president. In retrospect, was anything about those relationships inappropriate or unethical?
Nothing was unethical.
President Biden's brother and son are both under investigation. Officials are looking into their business dealings overseas.
Hunter Biden's business associate sent over $1 million to 3 of their family members. Any reaction to that report?
That's not true.
No, it's not. Well, let's see. Which is why I want impeachment trials to commence. We've got to get it through the House, impeachment of Joe Biden, and then get it into the Senate for a trial to begin. As I mentioned, there's text messages. There are shakedowns in those text messages that any reasonable person can see appears to be a shakedown. There are all of the wire transfers, not to mention all of the whistleblowers that have come forward. And yet, when you start to get close, those that are guilty often get angry. Remember this one?
President Biden, how involved were you in your son's Chinese shakedown text message? Were you sitting there? Were you involved? Were you involved? Were you? No.
He gets so angry. No, he says. To me, that means yes, yes, yes. So now you have to ask yourself, what about all the whistleblowers? What's happened to them? They're all being persecuted. They're all hated in Washington by the deep state. This is Andy Biggs, the congressman from Arizona, talking about one of them.
The agent has confirmed two important aspects of it, and it's the theme of the whole thing of this investigation. Number one is the Biden family itself and their dealings, and so he's corroborated everything from the transactions that took place. The other thing that goes on is the actual interference by Department of Justice into that investigation being conducted by line IRS agents and other line agents.
So one of the things that we've been talking a lot about is issuing these subpoenas to get Hunter Biden in to testify, Jim Biden, all of the associates surrounding the Biden entities, and there were so many of them, and including Jill Biden. I would like Jill Biden to testify before Congress. Now, I'm not sure that spousal privilege, meaning you can't testify against your husband or your child, extends to the United States Congress. It certainly does in court in a civil or criminal trial, but I'm not sure it extends into Congress. Well, joining me now is a former federal prosecutor. Bud Cummins is here. He had a whistleblower that he was going to bring to the United States Congress and the U.S. Attorney's Office, and they denied that high-ranking member of the Ukrainian government to come and talk to them. Bud, it is great to see you back on today. Thank you for coming.
Thank you, Grant, for having me on.
Let me ask you, I didn't prep you for this question, but do you think spousal privilege...
I don't know the answer to.
Yeah, and if you don't know the answer to, all my research has shown not many people do, that it would probably have to be played out in court for this. But I think it's worth the Republicans trying because I have a feeling Jill Biden knows a lot.
What do you think? I'm curious to know what you think Jill Biden would know. What aspects of this these allegations do you think she has insight into?
Well, I would be very curious as to what Joe Biden has said to her about her son's business dealings, what Hunter Biden has said about the business dealings. Was she present at any of these meetings where possible business people and entities and foreign entities had come through? Had she overheard any of the information about pay-to-play schemes? Would she suspect her husband involved in any of these pay-to-play schemes? Was there anything at all that she found odd in her time in dealing in public life with her husband and son? I could think of a lot of questions I could ask her.
Well, I think that would be an interesting interview. I don't know if she could assert a privilege. I suspect she probably could, since she can assert a Fifth Amendment privilege in Congress. I don't know why you wouldn't be able to assert a spousal privilege. But I think that there's other witnesses that you can get to this more quickly. Devin Archer may testify soon, and he would certainly be one. He should know all the answers. He was right there in the middle of all of it. But there's other paths that we haven't even seen anyone go down yet. One aspect of the Ukrainian story that I've always been curious about is this part where we know Joe Biden went to Ukraine and demanded that they fire the prosecutor general, threatened to withhold $1 billion of U.S. aid. And we've seen it on video. We know he did that. Where is the paper trail? If that was U.S. policy, there should be a paper trail a mile long going back to the White House, the State Department, documenting the problems they had with that prosecutor, why it was our policy to go take the fairly unusual step of going and forcing another country to remove one of their high officials. Where is the paper trail that led to Joe Biden going and delivering that news? Or did Joe Biden, just on his own initiative, decide to fly over there and fire the prosecutor general without any support or authorization from the White House? Somebody should be asking to see those documents.
You know, I can't help but think the gentleman that you were going to offer up to the U.S. Attorney's Office may have some insight on that. That was basically, and correct me if I'm wrong, the equivalent of the Attorney General of Ukraine, who had information and was denied. Now, you and I have covered this story a couple times already. Has anyone from the government, Congress, come forward to ask you about this gentleman and your attempts to get him to testify?
No one from the in official government has contacted me to hear that story. Of course, I've told it. It's in the media. If they wanted to hear it, all they have to do is go probably Google your show and they could see it. But no, I have not been contacted or asked to be a witness or tell that story. I think they've been more interested in the other witness that was documented by the FBI that formed 1025 or 23 or whatever that they were pursuing, which, by the way, sounded suspiciously like the same information that was being offered through me. So probably was the same folks with the same evidence.
Let me ask you, and I'll just say this too about Jill Biden. I'll make a little bit of an admission to you. Part of me wanting her to testify is to really stick it to the Bidens. Earlier in the show, I said I want to squeeze them. I want to squeeze them as tight as I possibly can. Maybe this is the Italian New Yorker in me that wants to make them suffer for what they've done to this country. That's part of it. But on the other side of these things, you were a federal prosecutor. What about these cases against President Trump? What do you make of these? How far will they go? I mean, right now, with this next case, he could face, 600-something years in prison if you added it all together.
I personally am not hearing that anybody cares. And I'm not talking about just people that I think are voting for President Trump. I think I'm hearing from Republicans that probably wouldn't want to vote for President Trump. I'm hearing from Democrats that they've lost interest in what Jack Smith's doing because he has no credibility. The Department of Justice has no credibility. The FBI has no credibility left. And when you have, I'm working on a case involving Keith Raniere, where there's 7 forensic experts that have said that the key evidence in the case was tampered with while in FBI custody. And they're just hiding behind procedural delays to even respond to that. Until Chris Wray comes to Congress, people elected by us, and he can't keep going to Congress and saying, well, this is all secret. I'd like to tell you, but I can't. He's got to get in there and say, yes, this happened. This is who did it. This is why it happened. It was wrong. We fixed it. We fired that guy. We've demoted that guy, and it'll never happen again. They don't want to do that. They're trying to circle the wagons. And until they come in and admit what they've done and convince me that it won't happen again, then they have no more credibility. And I don't care who they indict. I'm not going to trust them. And so I don't think it hurts Trump very much. I don't think anybody really thinks it's a legitimate prosecution.
Well, I think you're right on that. I think most people with common sense can see that it's not a legitimate prosecution. I wish there was some possibility of that happening. I don't think it will, where Christopher Wray comes clean like that. I think he's part of the problem. There is such thing as a deep state. I call them a ruling class of career bureaucrats. Call them whatever you want. They run Washington. And Joe Biden, Team Biden, who's ever pulling the strings for that administration, has harnessed this deep state, clearly, to wage war against all of us and President Trump. But I appreciate you weighing in on all of this. And I hope one day, and I'm going to do everything I can, that the United States Congress calls you in to tell this story about this Ukrainian who would have testified and the Attorney General's office turned him down. That story needs to be heard in front of Congress, not just here on Real America's Voice. So with that, Bud Cummins, thank you.
Have a good evening. Thank you, Grant.
All right, you got it. All right, folks, listen, before we get on with the show, I want to ask you a question. If you're a business owner and you did the tough thing during COVID and you pulled your business through, you paid your people, and now I'm going to tell you that doing the tough thing then could qualify you for up to $26,000 per employee. All you have to do is go to covidtaxrelief.org. I am using this organization. I have a big refund coming. Government funds are available to reward companies with 2 or more employees that stayed open during COVID, like my trucking company did. It is not a loan, and you don't have to pay it back. They were great going through this process. There's a lot of paperwork, but they lead you through it. The program's complicated, but nobody knows more about it than the CPAs and tax experts at covidtaxrelief.org. Trust me, I witnessed it personally. You pay nothing up front. They do all the work and share a percentage of the cash they get you. Businesses of all types, including nonprofits and churches, can qualify, including those who took PPP loans, even if you had increases in sales. So again, if you did the tough thing for your employees and yourself during COVID, let covidtaxrelief.org help get you up to $26,000 per employee. So here's what you do. Visit covidtaxrelief.org. That's covidtaxrelief.org. All right, folks, coming up, there is a way to reverse vaccine injury. There's a new documentary about it. All the great players are in it. Dr. McCullough, RFK Jr. The new movie shares a lot of these answers. We're going to talk to the producers next. listen to me, folks. Overall, I do not think that RFK Jr., Robert F. Kennedy Jr., is a bad guy. But I'm telling you, he is no conservative. Don't fall for this trick. Recently, he's getting a lot of heat for saying that the virus is genetically engineered to target whites and blacks. And he says it leaves alone some Jews and the Chinese. These are his comments that are garnering so much attention.
COVID-19 is targeted to attack Caucasians and black people. The people who are most immune are Ashkenazi Jews and Chinese. But we don't know whether it was deliberately targeted that or not. But there are papers out there that show the racial and ethnic differential impact to that.
All right, so he came out and he offered up that study, which does show that that is a clear possibility. The question is, could this virus actually be engineered to target certain people? I don't think what he said is anything anti-Semitic. What I think he was doing was slamming the Chinese CCP for what? Unleashing a virus on the world that specifically targeted Americans. The bottom line is, the CCP hates religion. The CCP is waging war on religion. We know this thanks to our friends over at New Federal State of China, Miles Guo. He released a video. I saw this. Listen to them talk about what would happen if we don't denounce religion. All right? This is cut 3. Roll it.
I asked him, what if people don't listen? He said, then arrest them. I asked, what if they still don't listen? He said, then kill them. This is Dong Hui Chang. I discussed with him. I asked him, so you think killing people will solve the problem? What makes you think that you will be able to kill all the Catholics and Christians in the West? What if they kill you first? He said, then we will have to use the smallpox virus. How do you know that the smallpox virus was not man-made? He said it has been documented that humans have been using viruses to kill their own kind since 1500 years ago in China in the Western Jin dynasty.
All right, so that's Miles Guo, China's CCP enemy number one, who's now in a federal prison locked up by the Biden administration. That was him talking about a CCP high-ranking official. Back in 2004, he asked them they released smallpox on the world. Well, COVID, smallpox, whatever. They're capable of it. Whistleblowers inside the CCP say this is certainly a possibility, and yet the media, the Democrats come out and slam RFK Jr. Why? Because they protect the Chinese Communist Party. Well, there's a new documentary out that's not protecting anybody. This new documentary is protecting all of us because it offers up truth. It's called Remedy, and it offers up remedies to the vaccine and what happened. Much of the remedy is with truth, though. Here's a little bit of the trailer.
So, what's the truth about vaccines?
Are they linked to autism?
What about SIDS?
What about sudden deaths, myocarditis, strokes, and heart attacks?
Do you regret getting the COVID injection?
Do you wish you'd never vaccinated your child according to the CDC's schedule?
What if you could go back in time?
What if you could undo the damage that's been done?
What if you could reverse vaccine injury?
Will you want to know how to make your body or your child's body healthy again?
The Truth About Vaccines presents Remedy.
Well, of course we all would. They've got all the big stars in it. From Dr. Peter McCullough, RFK Jr. is in it. Heck, John Stockton, the basketball great, is in it. They offer up a remedy to dissolve that spike protein we talk about so often. It's an important film. I urge you to see it. Joining us live now is the healthcare advocate and filmmaker behind that movie, Remedy. Charlene Bollinger is with us. Charlene, welcome to the program.
Thanks, Grant, for having me.
Absolutely, Charlene. This is an important movie. I think you're going to have a hard time getting the mainstream media to cover it, but that's why you're on this program. What's the goal of this movie?
The goal is simple. It's to reach the world with a remedy. It's really that simple. We've been sold a bill of goods. We've been lied to. They knew from the beginning, Pfizer, we've got the documentation that they knew that the shot was not safe, it was not effective, it did not stop the spread, it wouldn't stop COVID, and it wouldn't protect you. But they rolled it out anyways. Further, they knew that it would cause myocarditis in kids and heart attacks and on and on. And they called us conspiracy theorists. They called us dangerous. We were saying that this shot would be dangerous, and they say that that's dangerous. We were questioning the pandemic. They said that was dangerous. But everything that we said, they're now saying. So the goal of this film is to reach the people that are now living with regret and they're in fear for their lives, watching around them people who have had the shot dying suddenly. And
Charlene,
daily we hear of new people that are dying.
I get asked all the time, is there any way to roll back the vaccine? And to do that would be dissolving this so-called spike protein that is in the vaccine. Up until recently, a lot of doctors that I trust said they didn't know. They weren't sure. They weren't really a way. But now it looks like there's more and more evidence that there is a way to do this. The movie covers this, doesn't it?
Yes, absolutely. There's more than one way to restore the balance into the body and to reverse the damage done by the vaccine. And when we see the spike protein replication around the body, it's and Bobby was right in that clip when he said this shot was designed to do specific things. And Naomi Wolf has been really good at talking about it. And they've got the papers and the studies, and they're looking at the effects of the vaccine. But the vaccine looks like it was programmed. It was designed to attack the reproductive organs, to attack the heart, to cause myocarditis, to attack the brain. So it's doing what it was designed to do. And the spike protein replication does not stop. It keeps going and going and going. And that's why people need to see this film, because we teach them how to shut that off. And the spike protein is a symptom. There's something deeper. And we get into that in the film. This is gene therapy. It is not a vaccine. It's a shot. It's a jab. It's an injection. So we teach the person how to reverse the damage done at the DNA level.
I can't help but think the Chinese CCP clearly doesn't care about the lives of people if we believe that they unleashed this virus on the world to do great damage, and it's a war on religion, as many Chinese CCP whistleblowers believe that it actually was. But then you add in the vaccine, from what you're saying, that if the vaccine was designed to literally kill people, maybe control population, that is about as evil as it gets. That is an evil plot, really beyond belief, that I never would have hoped for America. But sadly, all the evidence leads me to believe I don't trust anything coming out of this government anymore, which is why this movie is so important. Let me play another clip from it and then get your response after.
What if the multi-trillion-dollar pharmaceutical industry actually owned the media and government?
They're basically running every government at this point. You can see that easily if you look at any media. It's all the advertisements are big pharma.
How many programs have you seen that say sponsored by Pfizer, brought to you by Pfizer?
Is there a coordinated effort to weaponize fear and force compliance?
They forced them down our throats. They scared us. They scared us through social media, through the news, through TV.
Fear has been leveraged for vaccine manufacturers for decades.
So, you know what's amazing? When I worked at Newsmax, I would do my show, and I will say Newsmax let me talk about the vaccines in a way that I'm sure that they weren't happy, hence I'm not there anymore, but they did let me talk about vaccines. They didn't let me talk about other things, but they let me talk about vaccines. I would go to commercial, and there would be a Pfizer commercial on Newsmax. Now, this is all the networks had this. This is Fox News, MSNBC. They all did. PBS did it. You name it. I think they are bought and paid for, Charlene Bollinger.
Absolutely, they're bought and paid for. In fact, they took the money, and that's why they won't allow the truth about vaccines to be talked about on their networks. And when I was put on the disinformation dozen list, hit and lied about by CNN, no one would talk directly to me. They would only talk about me, and here's why. The Biden White House funneled a couple $2 billion through the CDC and straight to these networks. Now, there's something during the COVID years, and they paid them to shut down anybody that would talk about vaccines truthfully, and they wanted to push the vaccines, and that's exactly what they did, because their goal was to get everyone vaccinated. And so through censorship, propaganda, they did it. They did it through the mainstream media. There's the Smith-Mundt Act that was put in place to protect American citizens from being propagandized by our government. Obama undid that and made it lawful for our own government to spread propaganda to the American people. They used to do it abroad and said that's okay in warfare, but never on the American people. Today, they're lawfully spreading propaganda. And this vaccine program was funded by the bill of $2 billion.
And I will tell you that they are still censoring information about this. You and I talked. I just posted the trailer on Instagram. I urge everyone to go watch it. Now, this is somewhat of a funny video because I censored the entire trailer because I can't afford to get kicked off of Instagram. Wait till you see what I had to censor. This is how important and powerful this movie is, that it's literally the bleeping of America, okay? Stinchfield 1776, I urge people to go there, watch it on my Instagram, follow me, like the video, share it, because that's how important this movie is, and it's up now. Remedy.film is the website. It's out July 26th. Charlene Bollinger, is great having you on the program.
Thanks, Grant.
All right, good luck to you and good luck with this movie. Again, July 26th, Remedy.film. It's like an 8-part series. You can watch it right there. All right, one thing I take very seriously is my health. I try to eat right with my schedule. It's not always easy. I didn't get vaxxed because I care about my health, but I also know that I need fruits and vegetables. So it's nearly impossible for me to eat the real thing. So I found Field of Greens, which is the real thing, but I call it like a salad in a bottle. I don't know if they like me calling that or not, but to me, that's what it is. It's totally amazing. I put the powder in, I shake it up, and it tastes great. Unlike other fruits and vegetable supplements, each specific fruit and vegetable in Field of Greens is medically selected to support specific functions like heart health, liver, kidney, immune system, metabolism, you name it. So here's my challenge to you. Take Field of Greens, and if people don't start saying, man, you look amazing, they will give you your money back, okay? A full refund, guaranteed. So to help you get started, I got you 15% off your first order. Get another 10% off when you subscribe for reoccurring orders. Visit fieldofgreens.com. Here's the promo code. It's easy. Grant. That's fieldofgreens.com, promo code GRANT. All right, folks, I am exposing the climate hoax next, even as our government uses tax dollars to double down on the messaging. Hey, we just heard about that, didn't we? Stick with me. I will tell you what, folks, climate alarmists can be called something else, Democrat loons. This is Democrat Representative Shontel Brown.
I regret that this committee continues to hold hearings on things that do not exist, like a bogus ban on gas stoves, while ignoring the real economic and energy issues affecting people across this country. Could it be that this is part of an effort by my colleagues on the other side of the aisle to distract from the numerous wins of the Biden administration?
Excuse me. They want to do away with pizza ovens in New York. They want to do away with gas stoves everywhere. It's not an effort to distract from anything. It is literally an effort to tell you the truth about what they are doing. And Biden wins? I told you they're Democrat loons. Name me one Biden win recently. There are none. Which led me to a story that I saw by my friends over at Climate Depot that figured this out. You know, there's a claim out there that global warming is killing people. But it turns out, if you look at statistics, global warming, if you believe it's happening and it's man-made, may actually be saving lives. Heat accounts for 1% of fatalities globally, about 600,000, okay? Cold kills 8 times more than that, 4.5 million. Now listen to this. Since 2000, heat deaths are up 0.21%. But cold deaths are down 0.51%. So we do the math, okay? Heat deaths amount to 116,000, all right, which is down 280,000, a savings of 166,000, okay? Cold, heat, 116,000, cold down 280,000, okay? For a total lives saved, here's where I'm doing the math, that's why I put the graphics up, for 166,000 deaths. So with cold deaths coming down as much as they are, heat may actually save lives. But the headlines about heat tell a total different story. Now they'll tell you that, well, 50% of deaths now are over the age of 65. And those deaths over the age of 65 are up 50% since 2000. Now look at that. 423 million people over 65, but the amount of people over 65 have also doubled, so it makes sense that more people over 65 would die, seeing that the number of people that are over 65 are now twice as much. So I know that's a little complicated exercise there, which is why we have the graphics. But because cold deaths have come down so much, we save lives because heat has gone up 0.1%. And age 65 and over deaths, they may be up, but we have twice as many people that age. See, the left doesn't want to tell you any of these things. One of the things that really gets me when it comes to the climate is the left loves to lie. Like John Kerry. He claims he doesn't own a private plane. Watch this.
I just don't agree with your facts, which began with the presentation of one of the most outrageously persistent lies that I hear, which is this private jet. We don't own a private jet. I don't own a private jet. I personally have never owned a private jet.
Do you stand by that testimony that you've never owned, or
I personally,
your family?
Personally, yes. My wife owned a plane.
So there you go. Him personally didn't own it. Well, if you live in Texas, where I live, it's a 50-50 state. You split the assets. Give me a break. You telling me your wife doesn't let you fly around on that plane? You know she does. That's what you get, though, from the left. And by the way, it would take one coal-fired pizza in a pizza oven in New York City, just one of those ovens, something like 600 years to equal the amount of carbon emissions John Kerry's wife's jet emits in just 1 year. Yet they're going after our pizza in New York City. All right, folks, coming up. First, I want you to protect yourself with gold today. Here's how you do it. Text America to the number 989898. You can see from all of this nonsense in Washington that we are in a state of chaos. Gold has stood the test of time as being a safe investment. It also provides you with privacy and security that no other investment can provide you. It's gold you can hold. So I urge you to call my friends over at Birch Gold. Just text America to the number 989898 and talk to them to see if gold is right for you. Some of your portfolio. I'm doing it. Text America to the number 989898. My friends at Birch Gold can help you. All right, coming up after the break, you will not believe who Kamala Harris says was the first to define the rainbow. That's right, the rainbow.
Here are some of the headlines we are featuring today from your favorite news outlets at offthepress.com. On Capitol Hill, the look into how the FBI investigated first son Hunter Biden's drug and gun case is getting deeper and more troublesome for the White House. An FBI supervisor on Monday told Congress that the agency tipped President Biden off to what they are doing, raising questions of interference. Also on the Hill, some Democrats are trying to erase the words husband and wife from federal law and use spouse instead. They think it's more equitable. The No Labels campaign took its effort to New Hampshire Monday night and drew big crowds. But in the end, voters came away thinking it's a dud. West Virginia Senator Joe Manchin showed up, but didn't commit to a third-party presidential bid. And the movie Sound of Freedom continues to rock theaters. The summer surprise about child trafficking has raked in $100 million. For stories like these and more updates all day long from your favorite news outlets, go to offthepress.com.
You know, Kamala Harris has the lowest approval rating in vice presidential history. There's a reason for that, because she talks to America as if they're in second grade, maybe even worse, maybe in kindergarten. This is her explaining who, I guess, discovered the rainbow.
And early on, just think about it. Early on, he even had the audacity to name this coalition the National Rainbow Coalition. Think about that. He defined the rainbow. He was one of the first to define the rainbow.
Oh, really? He was the first to define the rainbow. Reverend Jesse Jackson, who also was a fraudster, I'll tell you what, he was not the first to define the rainbow. I would imagine back in caveman days, there were rainbows after it rained in certain areas, and I'm sure they too thought that there were many colors in the rainbow. You know how I remember it? Roy G. Biv I don't know who Roy G. Biv is, but he'd be a better vice president than Kamala Harris. That's for damn sure. It's going to do it for us today, folks. Stinchfield's Army rolls. Thanks to all of you. Hey, check out that post, Stinchfield 1776. You'll see what I'm talking about on Instagram, all right? I just posted it. We'll see you here tomorrow, folks.
No rhythm whatsoever. I'm live from Studio 6B on a Tuesday night. Glad you're in. Real America's Voice. Slick Rick doing sports. The unrhythmic Rick Delgado.
I slapped the bass.
Hey, man. Yo. Slap something. I don't know if it's the bass, but.
Oh, come on. We're going to go there.
Rick tries
right
to
now.
play the drums on the intro plays.
Around, Big D. Come on.
Every single night he tries to play the rhythm of the drums on the opening song, and it's never correct.
No, I feel like Ricky Ricardo doing the old,
we deal with a music teacher, so you know what?
Yeah,
he's probably right.
Not just awful.
I got the babaloo.
Yeah, you got the babaloo.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, we got to laugh at something tonight because there's not much funny today. Looks like Rick's going to do sports. Rick Delgado's going to do the news. There's plenty of that.
Yes, sir.
We've got a LOL. We have a WTF, and we have an Is This English?
all from the same clip, I bet.
Triple play.
No, we should probably get to the Is This English pretty early in the show because it's going to take, you're going to have to gather people together, get a notepad, maybe get a recorder so you can hit rewind. You're going to have to listen probably closer than you can to come up with this one. If there's even words, I don't even know that there's words. There might be one word there. Let's do it. Let's do it, Aaron. Let's do it early, so give the people 2 hours.